Thank you, Richard. And you didn't pick up that Namibia is the best jurisdiction in the world for uranium. The sovereign risk in Namibia for uranium is less than Athabasca Basin, less than Australia. So just want to correct you on that. Namibia has Rossing's been operating for 48 years continuously. Fantastic jurisdiction for uranium. Only country in the world with a dedicated uranium association, and that's where we predominantly are. The photo you can see is Namibia. That's where we're exploring. Beautiful countryside. No issue with clearing anything to get on the ground. But as these blokes, pure play uranium, that's what we are. We've got two jurisdictions, Australia and Namibia. 160 million pound globally, 70% in Namibia, where we've made 4 discoveries over a period of 4 years. And the other third is sitting in Australia, where we acquired some assets for 4 cents a pound back in December 2009, and before the world went to shit shortly after that. So what we're seeing on this slide, and I'm going to draw your attention to, is we have 308 million shares on issue and 10.8 million in the bank. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a problem between my PowerPoint and the PowerPoint here, and it doesn't really show you properly. But we've just raised, or in the process of raising, $25 million. We went out Friday a week ago. 3 hours later, we had well and truly over 25. So most we've raised. The story was well accepted for institutions who we went to. And Paradise came in at 9.9% of our company, or 12.5 million. So they took up half the capital. So very exciting for us to attract institutions. We pivoted away from an exploration company to a developer, and that really drew their attention and a clear pathway through development. Other thing to pick up on this is 5.1% for directors and management. We have got skin in the game. We're aligned with shareholders. We don't spend a lot of money on directors. We've got 3 directors on one of them. That's the minimum you need. We've got 2 management on one of them. So we're not top heavy. We're spending money on the ground, adding value to shareholders as opposed to lining people's pockets in management. So where we've come from is we developed the upgrade process. It's a process we developed in-house, lowers the cost for capital and operating by 50% compared to conventional. And then we've now got a project to apply it to. So the Copies project in Namibia, we discovered it 5 years ago. It's now 66 million pound. Of the Copies resource, 45 million pound is in the indicated status. So it's a first step of de-risking the project. The next step is proving the upgrade process. So what we're looking at doing is we're doing a bench scale metallurgical test work program and upgrade. We're now going to build a demonstration plant, going to move it to Namibia, and once in Namibia, we're going to operate it on the Copies project for 2 to 3 months. And once it's there, we'll have other things we can potentially do with it. But that's a clear pathway for us to prove the upgrade process at scale and on a continuous basis, and then we'll move into a study to prove what the CapEx and OpEx reductions are. At the same time, we're going through that development stage. 4 discoveries in 4 years, I said to you. 2 of those are now resources. Copies, Hirabeb main resource 3 weeks ago. Capri and Namib for the other 2. We expect this sometime next year, they're going to be 4 discoveries and 4 resources. That's pretty unprecedented in the country or anywhere. But exploration costs for us are $1,000 a hole. And I know Pete hates me saying that. $1,000 to drill 1 hole. 22, 28 metres deep. We don't have to look at too deep. So it makes for a very shallow operation for us. So upgrades, a question I get asked a lot, what is upgrade? Upgrade's a process we developed in-house. What it does is it looks at the minerals present and it focuses on the gangue minerals, concentrates the gangue and throws it away. That's counterintuitive, innovative and hence patentable. So we have 3 patents around the world on this process, and they're commonly used unit operations we use. So you can find them in a gold, base metal, mineral sands plant, scrubbing, screening, those sorts of things. Fairly simple process. But the novelty is the fact that we concentrate the gangue. Most people don't even think of doing something like that. So the major minerals that are a problem in Namibia and Australia are clay and calcite. So we get rid of those and hence we end up with a concentrate that's 5% of the mass. So when you look at our process at the top of this slide, you'll see that we're starting with 200 ppm at Copies. We then put it through the upgrade process. We get it to 10,000 ppm in less than 5% of the mass. So our leach circuit would fit inside this small area that we're asked to speak in and people are asked to sit in, not very big. When you compare that to a conventional process, the leach circuit's huge. It's an alkali-based leach, so it's 92 degrees Celsius. We're taking the acid consumers out, so we're actually in an ambient temperature acid leach. So much simpler, much lower operating costs and CapEx. They come out of their leach at, say, conventionally 200, 300, maybe 400 ppm. We come out at 10,000. They've then got to build the concentration prior to the refinery. So additional costs there. So for a process that, say a conventional process that produces 3 million pound per annum, might be 400 million capital. For us, producing the same amount would be 200 million capital. Operating costs for them, probably 45 bucks a pound. We're dealing 25 bucks a pound. So we really have a process that adds significant value to us. And when I look at what we've done in Namibia, we've been focused on calcrete deposits. That's what Langer Heinrich is. That's what Deep Yellow's Tumas Channel is. That's what Orano Strakopi is. We were focused on that, but then we realised we've got mineralisation in weathered basement outside the Paleo Channel. So what that's done is it's opened up a new avenue for us to explore and add pounds and challenge for our geos. But also when you look at this photograph, and I'm a metallurgist by profession, I look at this and I can see the yellow mineral carnotite. If I can see it, we can concentrate it. So I'm very excited about the concentration potential of the weathered basement, and that's what we also be putting that through our plant as well as the calcrete. And to add to that $25 a pound, 50% of our deposit is within 7 metres of surface. So from a mining perspective, strip ratio is going to be low, mining costs are going to be low. We're going to use a surface miner, cuts it 1/2 metre deep, breaks it to top size of 150 millimetres. So the cost for mining is very low. The cost with upgrade is very low. So we end up with a low cost operation. So the areas that we've been focused on in Namibia are the central Orongo area and down in the Copies project area. So why are we in Namibia? As I said before, the sovereign risk for uranium in Namibia is extremely low, much lower than Australia. It's the 3rd largest producer in the world. It's been producing uranium for 48 years on a continuous basis through the Rossing mine. We had 3 mines developed in the last 15 years. That's Orano Strakopi project, Paladin's Langer Heinrich, and the Chinese, or formerly Extract, the Husab project. And there's been 2 mining licenses granted in the last 11 months. That's to Bannerman and to Deep Yellow. So we've got a history of producing, development, and licensing. So it's a very good jurisdiction to be in. It's got a deep water port whereby copper from Zambia comes through to the west coast of Africa and through our port. We've got an international airport. We've got desalination plants to provide water. We've got rail, we've got road, and we've got power lines running through our project. So it's a great place to be sitting and operating in. So we're just going to look at the news flow coming up. From an upgrade perspective, we're doing the bench scale metallurgical test work program now. We're going to start building now. We've raised money, build the demonstration plant, get it to Namibia, operate it next year, and then we're going to run a study off the back of that. At the same time as we're going through a development path, we're going to add to our pounds in the ground. We're going to add it through maiden resource drilling. We've done it at Heribeb, got success there. Capri, Namib 4, and we haven't even spoken about Australia yet. So in Australia, we've got the Minerva project. That was discovered in 1978. It's got 10 holes with greater than 10,000 ppm, about 140, 160 metre deep. We've got the Angela project just south of Alice Springs, 31 million pound at 1,300 ppm. We've found another lens underneath it. No one's drilled, so we want to go and drill that. So we've got a lot happening, both in Namibia and Australia, and particularly with upgrade and development. So in summary, we're pure uranium play, 160 million pound globally, 2/3 in a fantastic jurisdiction in Namibia and a great mining jurisdiction in Australia. We've got industry-leading upgrade process we developed in-house, lowers the cost base substantially, is a differentiator between us and our peers. We've got a proven discovery team, 4 discoveries in 4 years. We have portfolio growth. We've been growing from 45 million pound to 160 million pound over the last 4 years, 5 years. And what better time in the uranium industry? Every time you wake up, when you live in Perth, you wake up and you hear the news coming from the US. Everybody wants to get into into nuclear, except for the Australian government. But they'll come around because they're the only one not doing it. Microsoft, Amazon, Google, all committing to off-grid nuclear, not pulling from the grid, but off-grid. So it's exciting for our industry. It's exciting for these blokes sitting in front of me because we're all leveraged to the uranium price. But it's particularly exciting for us. We've got upgrade as a differentiator. We've got low cost, shallow deposits in Namibia in a jurisdiction that's very, very friendly for uranium mining. So thanks very much for your time. I appreciate you listening and putting up with the background noise. Thank you very much, Richard.